You need a dose of this.
What's up, everyone? Thank you for joining me tonight. This is You Need a Dose of This, and this is Get Your Meds, the channel. So thank you so much for coming on board and joining me tonight. Tonight's a special episode for me personally because I am launching the campaign for the Shameless plug. This is the graphic novel. So it's the whole 140-page book. So I'm very excited about this. Again, thank you guys for joining me. What I'm going to do tonight is I'm not here by myself. I will have guests tonight who are going to come on and they're going to talk to us about their books because if you guys have followed me on social media, I posted one of the panels inside the book is a spinner rack. For those who don't know what a spinner rack is and have no idea what I'm talking about, back in the days before there was a direct market where you could go into a comic book shop to buy a comic book, there used to be these spinner racks, and I'm sure you guys saw them at the the supermarket or anything like that, where they would have comics just kind of sitting there, and people would pick them up. So what I did was I recreated something like that inside the book, and a bunch of indie friends of mine allowed me to put their covers on there. But what I'm doing is I'm pulling those books out of the spinner rack, and I'm actually going to give it to one of a lucky winner. What I'm going to do is every 20 backers of the campaign, I'm going to remove one of the books from the spinner rack, and I'm going to offer it to you guys as a gift for pledging to the campaign. So I hope that sounds good with you guys. I'm going to share the image that I'm talking to you guys about. But first, let me just thank a couple of people who have already showed up. Hey, D, what's up, man? Thank you so much. I really appreciate the love and support. And Ian, my man. All right, man. I was on his show. Ian's got a wonderful show. You guys should check it out. Check out the show notes because I do have a bunch of links in there that you guys are going to be able to check out. And there's Lou. I'm going to have Lou Pons on the show as well because she's got something special in the campaign as well. The indie community, the indie buddies of mine have really showed up for this one, and I really appreciate you guys. And I do want to show some love to you guys for showing that love and support. No man is an island, and we all need the support. And I thank you guys so much. Let me share the screen with you guys real quick. This is the spinner rack that I'm talking about. So there you have it. So read more comics, especially hours. That's a quote from JD Calderon, who has a show on Sunday nights. You guys should check it out, where he talks to other indie creators. And at the end of the show, he always ends the show with read more comics, especially ours. And I believe that to be true. You guys need to be reading more indies. If you aren't, do so, please. It's very important. Mr. Victor Medina, what's happening, my brother? Thank you so much for joining me tonight, man. All right, so these are the books that are going to be available for a giveaway that I'm going to be doing on the show. Every 20 backers. Remember, this is every 20 backers. So once we get 20 backers in the campaign, we unlock one of these books. The first one that we're going to unlock is going to be this one here. It's The Adventures of Wonder Duck. That's the one that if you look at it, if you see Joaquin, he's looking at now. You may be wondering, okay, why? What's up with the spinner rack? Why is that even in the story? Well, the story of the Shameless plug is the story of fitting in. I know that sounds weird, and people are like, fit in, whatever. I think that we all look for that. We all want to be a part of something. I think, like I said to you guys just a few minutes ago, no man is an island. And I think, or no person, I should say, is an island. And so, we are constantly looking for a connection, right? It happens everywhere. It happens when, you go to a new school as a little kid, your kindergarten, your mom leaves you there at the front of the school. And she says, all right, go make some friends. And now you're off. And once you walk into that room, you're like, okay, what do I do? And so the initial reaction is to try to find somebody who's maybe has the same, you can play with, maybe has the same mindset, whatever. But you want to fit in, you want to find that connection. So this story is about just that. And even though Joaquin is an immigrant kid, from Ecuador, this isn't because of the the state of the country now. It's a story about me in a sense. I was that little kid from Ecuador who came here, didn't speak the language, and had to fit in. All I knew was my sister, my little sister who came. I was 7 years old. So here we were. We didn't speak English. We didn't speak. We didn't know what this world was like, and we had to find a way to figure it out and fit in. So one of my biggest things for me was learning English because I wanted to be able to communicate with the kids around me. And obviously, you have books in school, grammar books and all that other stuff, and that was cool. But what I gravitated towards were comics. Comics were my gateway to vocabulary and learning words, learning phrases, and being able to communicate in a language that I had never spoken. All I knew was Spanish at the time. And here I was learning a brand new language, and comics did that for me. Comics made me more, it gave me a sense of comfort, and not just comfort, but I felt empowered by, oh man, now I understand these words. So that's why this is in the book. It's an ode to my childhood, to reading comics, to enjoying comics. And so I decided to include some of my indie buddies in this with me. So that's why this is here, and that's the story of the Shameless Plug, a story that I will be launching tonight. I wanted to give a huge shout out, not just to sorry about that, not yet. I wanted to give a huge shout out to my artist, Joseph Olesko. Joseph has been on this ride with me for a couple of years now, and even before that, he was the artist on The Adventures of Wonder Duck. He did a lot of work. Actually, that's his artwork on the cover. He did a lot of work with me here, and we have a very good relationship. I remember hitting him up 2 years ago when I sent him the script, and I said, "Hey, would you be interested in doing this?" And man, he's been nothing but professional. He's been an incredible partner to work with. I sent him the script, and he knocked it out. Hey, my big shout out to Mr. Sammartino, who will be making an appearance here tonight as well. And what up, Tim? Tim's book is up there as well. Thank you guys for joining me tonight. So Joseph, so back in 2021, that's when the idea of the Shameless Plug came to me, and it started with a plug, literally a plug. It started with this. I'll show you guys. It started with this guy. It was one of these plugs. It was my iPhone plug. It was sitting in my car, and I was looking at it, and I was like, man, that would be interesting if you just kind of drew like two eyes and a mouth. That'd be kind of a cool character. And so I had the character, I had what it was going to look like, but now what was the story going to be? And so it was a plug, and the idea of a shameless plug, right? I do a podcast with my buddy Sam Vera, and at the end of the shows, we would plug other creators. We always do the shameless plug, the shameless plug. So I was like, okay, that's the title, the Shameless Plug. But what is the story going to be about? And originally it was going to be a family of plugs in the world and all this other stuff. And I was like, it's not really doing it for me. So then I said, people often say, write what you know. I like to do that, but I also believe in write about experiences in your life. And I think that that's where the connection occurs with readers, right? When you write about things that you go through, because believe it or not, we go through similar things. And then the idea of, okay, what does a plug do? It fits into a socket. Oh, wow, fitting in. Okay, how did I feel growing up coming here? Did I fit? Okay. And then the story all of a sudden came together. And now I had the shameless plug. Sometimes to fit in, you have to be yourself. And I was like, wait, okay, that's a story. And I started developing it. That was back in 2021. It took me a while to write this thing. I was going to write it in single issues, but I was like, this sounds like more like a one shot. And so I made it 140 pages. It's a 140 page one shot. Now you're wondering, did you send Joseph 140 page script? No, I would have scared him away. I broke it down into like 5 chapters, and I sent him 5 separate chapters. So I sent him chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. and we finished it that way. I thought that was more manageable, and he knocked it out the park. I also want to give a big shout out to a few more people before I hit that button. One of them is L.A. Cunningham, who took my script, and she was my script editor. She took it, read it, made sure that it made sense. So for those who, maybe are just starting to do this, maybe or trying to get into comics or writing comics and stuff like that, she was crucial in helping me kind of like just figure out where my story was going and making sure that I wasn't lost within my story. So big shout out to LA Cunningham. She did an incredible job. Thank you so much for the help, the support, and for not changing my story. That was one of my biggest fears, was if I give it to an editor, will they change it to suit what they want to read? And she never did that. I put out my story. I gave her my story. She gave me back my story. She just made sure it made sense. So huge shout out to her. If you guys are looking for an editor, reach out to LA Cunningham. Her links are also in the show notes. So check out the show notes. If you're watching this on YouTube, check out the show notes. And make sure you subscribe, like, comment, share this bad boy. Share it, please, because I'm hoping that we can get this thing funded tonight. I'll be on here for a couple of hours. Don't worry, it's not just going to be me talking to you guys. I do have people in the background. I do have some guests that are going to come in, and I want to ask them two questions. One is going to be, what inspired you to write the story, and do you remember the moment when you said, "Okay, I'm ready to put it out there"? So I definitely want to talk to them about that. So I'll have them on the show as well. The other three people that I wanted to give a shout out to is Joe Holly. Joe Holly's an indie artist. He's got a book called Pretty, and he actually helped with the design of the character. He originally looked different because I design all my characters, and I originally didn't really have a clear idea as to what he was going to look like, but I knew that it was going to be a plug. I knew it was going to, it was going to be anthropomorphic, and so I sent it to him to help me with the design, and I loved what he did. Let me share my screen with you guys one more time, because I do want to show you guys what it looked like and then where we are now with the characters. So let me do that. Let's see. There's the screen, and that was the design. That was what I wanted. I wanted an anthropomorphic kind of plug. I gave him a mask. I don't know what the heck I was thinking. I mean, I did all this, and then gave him a mask. I can't believe it. But the rest of the stuff was there. So what he did was, he said he gave it his own flair. And if you guys know Joe Holly's style, it's dope as hell, man. And I knew he was going to kill it. So he went ahead and he sent me this, the guy on the left, right? And then what I did was, once I approved that and I loved what he did there, I sent it over to another buddy of mine, Mr. Victor Claudio, who is a colorist, and he does a lot of coloring for his own books. He's also an artist, but I love his coloring style. So I sent it over to him. He sent the part, the image in the middle, and then I was like, you know what? He's looking a little lanky and long. So I went to Photoshop. I shrunk him down, and I ended up with the image on the right there. So now I had my character. One more person I want to thank, and that is Mr. C. Michael Lanning, who helped me with the design of the rest of the cast. I sketched them out, and then I sent it to him, and he did his thing. I'm going to be offering a sketchbook as one of the pledges, as one of the rewards. And let me show you guys real quick. The inside of the book is going to have a lot of the behind the scenes stuff. It's going to have the script. It's going to have the pencils, and then it's going to have the finish page. And throughout the book, you'll be able to see some of the character designs. I want to say that because I want you guys to check it out once you get it, if you decide to get it. But let me show you guys what those pages are going to look like. And here we go. Show and tell here tonight. All right, so this is what it's going to look like. So you're going to have the script. I'm going to have a blurb here of like what was going on the page. This is the pencils that Joseph sent me, and then the finished page. By the way, Joseph did the pencils, inks, and colors on this bad boy, so he was busy. He was busy. So that's what you're going to get inside the book. let me let's see. We got Rob Spooky T2I. The indies are a Venn diagram of artists and creators working with each other, connecting each other to new groups. Correct. Laurie, oh, look at that. Look at you sharing. Share. Yes, I'm going to have Laurie Calcaterra on in just a few minutes, and we're going to talk to her about her book. But let's do this, right? Let's get into it. Let's go to Kickstarter. It's 8:15. I've talked long enough. I'm going to launch this bad boy. Let's freaking do it. Let me share my screen with you guys one more time. Make sure that I have the screen up. There it is. All right, here we go. Moment of truth. I'm ready to launch. You got to click all that stuff. Launch project. Let's see if it happens. And are we live? Yes, we are live. Woo. I always get nervous about that. We're live. I'm gonna come back to the campaign in between my guests. I'm gonna take it off the screen because I don't want to keep staring at it. But let me take it off here and let's bring some people in here. I have the Technic guys are in the background, and I have Laurie. I'm gonna bring both of them in, and we're gonna chat. Here we go. Hold on a second. Hold on a second here. Hold on. There they are. What's going on, guys?
What's up?
Good evening, sir.
George.
Good evening. Good evening. Thank you for joining me tonight on my launch.
We've got similar colored background walls. Woo!
Dude, this is what I'm trying to see. Mike, you knew what I was going to do tonight.
But we're in the back rooms. We're in a different section of the back rooms. That's what's going on.
Guys, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I don't know if you heard before I brought you guys in, but I'm going to have 2 questions for everybody who comes on the show with me tonight. And the 2 questions are going to be, what inspired you to do your book? And when did you decide, okay, I'm ready, it's going to happen, and we're ready to put it in there? So first question, what inspired the Technic Gods?
Well, inspired it basically a video game review that I was listening to. It was about like Super Street Fighter 4, and I don't know if you're familiar with Street Fighter.
Yes,
it's like a movie coming. The reviewer was like complaining about like the game, like how the game just the evolution of the video game was not like new. It was just like a carbon copy of the last iterations of it. That's pretty much the inspiration. So I said to myself, what kind of video game can I make that is like different?
So it started out, you wanted to make a video game.
I did, yeah. Technic Gods was going to be a video game. I don't really want to go into detail about the game, but yeah, it was originally going to be a video game, and then make like all the concept characters. Like I hired my friend here to develop all the characters for me.
I drew the characters, the concept art for a game that is not, but it is the prequel and sequel to our comic book. Yeah. So as we create the story of the Technic Gods and where it's going, unbeknownst to any reader, we are constantly referencing back to this backstory, which involves an entire video game that no one knows about, but we know these characters so deeply now. We're like, oh no, gotta remember in level 4, and like we will have these conversations, go, oh, that's right. And then and that means nothing and no reader even needs to know that. But I like the fact that we do. And that was something early on that I brought up, because we built this like compendium of a backstory, this huge history of not just our characters, but the world that they're in. We world build literally thousands of years that we know. And I guess we had a conversation where with the other creators, like, is this a bit excessive? And I remember I was like, this is literally what like J.R. Tolkien did. Like before that dude ever wrote The Hobbit, and then eventually The Lord of the Rings, he wrote this complete and exhaustive history of a world, right? Invented 5 languages. So it's kind of like, all right, not to be like, hey, like we're the new Tolkiens, but to not be writing in the future and then going, let's make this up completely on the spot. be able to actually look back and go, oh, we wrote about this, or we kind of made notes about this character. We've already got the foundation there. So I think that actually helps us in our kind of creative process.
It helps us with Technogods, but like now that we're like branching out to other projects, it kind of like hinders us because now we're like, we realize we're in the beginning of other projects and it might take like a few years to build the compendiums of those stories.
Right.
So it's like kind of scary to like move on to other projects at the same time.
Yeah, when you kind of get that spark of an idea, and you're like, oh, that would be something cool. It's like, oh, now do I got to build that too?
So it started out as a video game. Right. When did it morph into a comic? Like, when did you decide, you know what, I'm going to make it a comic? And for you, Rob, I'm sure like drawing a comic book, like sequential art and all that, was this your first gig? So let me start with that though. Like, at what point, Mike, did you decide, you know what, if the video game is cool, let me do this as a comic book?
Well, it's because we kind of ran into a roadblock. We're not coders or whatever. Right. And I knew a couple people in the industry of the gaming world, and we spoke to a lawyer basically about our idea. And they pretty much told us that, you know, you should build this story into like a different medium. So that's why we went with comic books. Yeah, it's the most visual thing we can think of.
His advice was that the ideas that, you know, Mike and the early creators and then we all like came up with, he's like, these are really good ideas. And he's like, some studio is going to steal this from you. And then you are just a bunch of like, you know, random normal people. You cannot fight them in court if they steal it. Right. Because there's plenty of nightmare stories where someone's got a great idea, pitches it to some company and they're like, no, thank you. And then they come out with it 18 months later. And then what's regular guy down the street going to do? Nothing. They got lawyers on retainer that are getting paid six figures, just waiting to chew some regular guy up. So
again, not that we're like Tolkien or an amazing gaming studio, but I thought that the idea was unique enough to speak to someone.
And it was unique enough where that guy was like kind of turned the recording and the mic off in the middle of the interview and was just like, guys, this is gonna get stolen. Like basically it was very like, let me clue you in right now. Like and then turn the recording back on. It was like, so anyway, it was very nice meeting you. We were like, oh,
which is funny because maybe this idea came up like 15 years ago or so. Wow. And you see remnants of my idea in other games still. Like I see little pieces of it, but I don't see the
no one's hit it like
in my head, like this idea is like no one's done this yet. Like I've seen certain games do certain things, but they didn't go full my idea type of thing. Yeah, and I'm like, all right, hopefully
it's still an option. It's still a pathway, right?
Well, listen, let me share the screen again. So your book is up on the spinner rack. And listen, thank you guys so much for doing this.
We appreciate the shameless plug for us.
There it is.
Yeah, dude, there it is.
Don't say top shelf.
It's the one in the upper right hand corner. So it's funny because I was like, when I was putting the books on the spinner rack, I was like, well, he's about 9 years old. Let me put all of the, not that this is like, it's not adult material. It's not. But I was like, I'm gonna put like the Technogods on this side. I put Sartana up there, who's by JohnnyC. Path of the Pale Rider by Laurie is up there. Sam's gonna change. That's actually gonna be there's another in my toy. That's still going to cover there. And then I have the dynamics. So I purposely put them, where I wanted to put them. And I appreciate you guys doing this, man. So for those watching, the Technogods is going to be available as soon as we hit that 20 backer mark. So those are the backer goals for this campaign. And you guys have been amazing, man. I know, listen, I have a bunch of people back. I want to have you guys actually on this show. And I want to talk one-on-one because you guys have, 5 issues now of this book?
Yeah, we're working on 6. And then we're also working on that anthology. It's coming up, and that means I'm drawing 2 separate stories at the same time. Like
you're busy, Rob.
I'm doing those 2 things. Plus, I got a couple commissions and a bunch of stuff for school. I was like, woo!
And I was trying to like bring him into a different.
And I'm like, I was like, sir.
And he's like putting roadblocks. And he's like, no, I don't want to hear it. I don't
100% can't do that.
Focus,
yeah, like Technogods indie, like the anthology story. Yeah. Got a couple like album covers I'm working. It's like I was like, sir, like I have to learn what to say no. Okay. Strong, independent woman. I'm going to learn to say no.
Well, listen, guys, thank you so much for stopping in for a few minutes. Like I said, I'm going to have you guys back on. So I'm going to send you a link to have you guys back on this show later on this year, and then we'll chop it up, and we'll make it about the technical guys, because I want to know everything about this world. So come in with notes, come in with the backstory, tell me about the video game, all that kind of stuff, if you can speak about it.
What we can. We're gonna keep something secret.
Yeah, some of we can tell you.
Exactly.
There's themes out there. We know. You know you're watching.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for coming on, man.
Thanks for having us.
Cheers, George.
Thank you.
Later. I just cut him off. My bad. I'm still working this. I'm by myself here. I'm working this together here. Let me bring in my next guest. I'm just gonna check just for myself. I'm gonna check to see how we're doing over here with the campaign. Oh, 6 backers. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate the love. I appreciate you so much. Here we go. Ready? Next up is, here we go. Where are you, Miss Laurie Calcaterra?
Hi. I was like, why didn't you bring me on to introduce me to your friends? I've never met them.
No. I'm very territorial about my friends. Okay, those are my friends. All right, they're my friends. Sammy's watching. What up, Sam? Sammy's in the house. Andrea, there she is. How's it going, Andrea? Thank you so much. And Mr. Elliot Andre, big shout out to you. Don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't introduce Laurie to your friends. It's a bad idea.
Johnny Boy's in the house. See, look, Laurie, you got fans.
I collect your friends, or then become my friends. That's the whole goal.
Nice. Well, listen, you know what? Why don't we do this? You know this guy. We'll
Hey,
this guy. I don't mind sharing this guy. This guy, I can share. I can share this guy.
Oh, damn. Damn. Who that?
Bringing the beats. Listen,
what's up, Laurie?
JD is
karaoke.
in the back.
Is this karaoke portion of the launch? I'm just curious.
This is the karaoke portion of the launch.
There it is.
So before
how you doing?
I came on, I have 2 questions for you guys. Okay, I'm going to ask all of you guys the same question. One question is, what inspired you to write this book that you guys wrote, and the second one is, what made you kind of just say, all right, it's time. I'm gonna put it out there. I'm gonna make it a comic, and I'm gonna put it out there. So I'm gonna start with you, Laurie. What inspired it, and what made you finally say, all right, I'm putting it out there?
What inspired me? I was tired of zombie genre. I felt like, I'll call them out, Walking Dead kind of jumped the shark. And, a lot of the things that we've been seeing in zombie genre have just not been stellar. Looking at you, World War Z and Warm Bodies. I'm opinionated about those. So I was like, I'll just shut up. Either shut up or put up, right?
Yeah.
Do it. And so I had this idea of something different, of course, whether it's death being broken, what does that look like? Off I went running, and had no idea about comics at the time. I wrote it as a screenplay, and derailed my train, and it didn't know what to do. Right? It was like, I have this great idea, I don't know what to do with it. And I finally decided I was going to learn the business and do it, when one of my friends from the production company read the script and was like, this is too good to sit on and do nothing. It needs its light in the day. Like, people need to be able to read it. So I didn't have enough connections to take it to Netflix. Was too worried that it would get shelved or rewritten or ghostwrited or whatever. Right. Most of the time they're going to be like, hey, here's $200. Get out of here. You're bothering me, kid.
Yeah,
right?
Right.
So I was like, what can I do to start this story? And it was my husband that was like, hey, I back stuff on Kickstarter all the time. Why don't you look at that method and see if, that can help you get some funding, find an artist, get your story out there. And the rest is history.
Wow. All right. So that's how it all happened, huh?
Yeah. Yep.
Damn. So tired of the zombie genre.
I love the zombie genre, though. I'm a big fan, but I will watch all the things, good and bad. You know what I mean? It's like, how do you know if something's good if you haven't watched the things that are bad? So obviously that was the inspiration, and then you finally made it into a comic. You're 8 issues in, right? Like 8 issues in. Yeah.
So it ballooned from there. It wasn't just going to be one comic. It was going to be a series. And now here you have
Yes.
whole series. And how
Yeah.
many issues are you planning? I know the answer, but for those watching,
Hopefully 36. It's
Wow.
it's a full-length movie, and when I wrote it, and then it was meant to be a sequel. I have written the first movie and the second movie, and I'm working my way through I have time, right? So that's what we're working on. But the first 12 have been done since 2018. So puppy.
we have like,
Show.
look at the puppy. And,
Yeah, everybody back the campaign because Sam brought a puppy. For me.
Yeah.
There you go. I gotta try everything to hook my boy
Right.
up. What's
Yeah,
up?
Can
try
I
to
get my
cute.
puppy?
Well, let me just pull up
Right.
these. So Spooky. So Rob, in retrospect, I obviously should have. Nah, man, I cut him off in the middle of like saying congratulations.
He was like, shameless.
He said Sam is coming. Get him out of here.
Oh, I see. Keeping us separated from Sam. What's this week?
No, he's keeping you separated from me. He's afraid of that.
Separating everybody.
Yeah.
This is what I did.
Rude.
Also, these guys are sitting in front of a back room.
I feel like you guys are in the same house. Like with Michael.
They were sitting right next to me. They're still here.
Yeah, he's just sitting in the next room or something.
Yeah, they're
around the
hanging
corner.
out. They're hanging out. Thanks, D. Appreciate you, D. That's what I'm avoiding the gods. What's up, y'all? What up, man? So, Sam, same questions for you, my brother. So, what inspired There's an Alien in My Toilet? And when did you decide, okay, I'm going to make it a comic?
I love the fact that you're asking me about my book. I really want to promote your book, but
good,
you know, I think
There'll be time for my book.
there'll be time. You know, I had a couple of margaritas, so I'm a little. I'm feeling good
Oh,
today.
okay.
So
Here we go.
Here we go.
I like
party
it.
time.
I like it.
It's good. And I just finished watching the Kevin Hart roast. So that
Soma
was
part 3. This is-
hilarious. I know, right? So no, I'm a big fan of everything sci-fi. I love aliens. I think you know the story because you were with me. It was a editor from a newspaper saying, "Do you have a concept for a sci-fi comedy comic strip?" And driving through the Lincoln Tunnel, bam, Duty just showed up on my head. I saw him all in his green wonder, and he said, "Hi, I'm Duty from Uranus." I was like, "Oh dang!" We went to IHOP. I flipped the napkin over. I started drawing it, sketching it, and that's how Duty came to life. And then I was like, "I'm not giving it to a newspaper." Hindsight, maybe would have made a little cash. Who knows? But it would have been a long road. But it was bliss since then, and I had fun ever since creating it. And we're getting ready for issue 8. So. Yeah, it's just been fun. So, and I love everything from anything Jim Henson's ever touched. I love all sci-fi. I loved E.T. I love Marvin the Martian and Buzz Lightyear and all that stuff.
Yeah. No, it's crazy because, like you said, I remember that. I remember the whole thing when, like, this editor, you were sitting at it. Was it Big Apple?
I think it was Big Apple.
Yeah, and the guy came over. He's like, "Hey, I'm looking for a comic strip. You guys do aliens?" And Sam was like, "Yep."
Yeah, we do now.
Yeah, we do, son.
Give me a minute.
Random.
Be right back.
Never say no. Always say yes and figure it out later. That's the way to do
it. Yeah. And Duty was born.
Duty was born. Yeah,
what's up, Lou?
Yeah,
no, it's great, man. It's great. And I'm happy that you guys, said yes to putting, and obviously, Sam, I got to change yours. But that you guys said yes to adding your books to the rack. And like I said, once we reach 20 backers at some point, whenever it is, I'll be raffling a lot of these books. Hopefully I can get rid of all of them for you guys to read because they are really, really good books. They're also going to be a backer goal where we're going to, also release obviously the PDF. So thank you guys for doing that. But yeah, so wait, Laurie, you're launching soon, right?
July 3rd, I'm going to be launching our second trade paperback.
Oh,
which is crazy.
It's crazy. That is crazy. So July 3rd. Now, for those watching, we have a one-on-one. We have You Need a Dose of This version of your book on the channel. So you guys want to check that out. We spoke about, the world of The Path of the Pale Rider on there. So definitely check it out. And Sam, you are as well, right?
Well, it's funny. I think Laurie's hacked in my computer because this is like the third time. It's around the same. It's like couple of weeks away. No, it's actually I'm launching on my. The goal is to launch on my birthday, which is July 9th.
Wow.
Which is a Thursday, and I want to launch on Thursdays. So it's yeah.
I think we're just on the same schedule. Like
Yes.
February, summer,
That is
fall.
funny.
Hey,
Yeah,
we
that's
will
funny.
overlap.
I still think you hacked my computer, but anyway.
It's possible. I
It's
do that.
possible. It's
Mhm.
possible.
Yeah. So the goal is July 9th.
All right, cool. Hold
Cool.
on a second. Let's see what we got
Didn't
here.
know
We
that.
got make something accessible and interesting to kids, has to be authentic. Bravo to you guys for making something for the youth, which they're genuine interest in. Yeah, man. Thank you. Appreciate that, Rob. Yeah, man. So good. So, guys, thank you so much for coming in. I have JD in the background. Oh, the shameless plug. Look at you and your shameless plug.
I'm
Look at
plugging
that.
it.
Thanks, Laurie.
This
I
one was
appreciate
great. My kids both read it. They both loved it. They were both came away with questions, wanting to know more.
Yes.
So I already
yes.
backed the campaign. You guys need to back too.
Thank you, Laurie. Thank
There's
you.
8 people backing right now. Get on there, pick out
Yeah,
something. I got to know what else happens, and my kids are dying to
I know
know.
your kids need to know. And this is the 140-page graphic novel. So the whole thing is done. It's ready to rock and roll.
Yes.
for you guys.
Awesome.
Yes.
Congrats.
Anyway,
man.
I got my copy. Get your copy, guys. Seriously, back the project. It's fantastic. I've been working with George for a couple of decades now. Yeah,
It was in for a couple days.
for a minute, for
Yo,
a minute,
for
and
real.
yeah. So
Yeah.
since the day in that nude class, whatever that was, and the life drawing
Don't
class.
ask. Don't ask.
Drawing class.
There you go. That's what it was. And I told you I was drinking a little bit, but
The
no.
nude class.
George is a great guy. Go and get yourself a copy. I stepped away from my margarita just to say hello and support my boy. But you guys do your thing. 84 years. That's it, Lou. You're
Been
done.
84 years.
Lou is excommunicado. That's it.
Later, guys. Thank you so
Peace
much
out.
for coming, man. Later.
Bye.
Oh man, sounds crazy. All right. Next up, we have a dynamic duo coming up. They have a book called Tall Tales, and I swung by actually today to pick up my copy of it. This is what we've been giving away there. I have the other books here, but I forgot to bring down the Technic book, which I have upstairs. But Tall Tales, look at this thing. They were like, George, we don't have issue 1. We'll just give you the whole graphic novel. So this is what somebody will be winning once we reach every 20 backers. Let's add them to the stage, though. Enough talking. Let's put them in here. There they are.
Hey, what's up, George?
What's going on, guys? How you doing?
Good.
You know,
So just we're a little rattled.
Just you.
Huh? Yeah, we just saw you. And also I'm still a little rattled because there's been construction going on all day and it's finally quiet.
There you go. You know, it was cool to kind of like see you guys today and kind of like walk into your world there, JD, and like see all the cool stuff that's around the writer's table, and like it was impressive, dude. It was impressive, and I'm jealous because I have nothing back here. I have my joint is blank, so it was very impressive, and I'm very jealous. But I'm gonna ask you guys the same thing I asked my prior guests, right? What inspired you to write your book, and when did you decide? Okay, you know what? It's gonna be a comic, and I'm putting it out right now. So, JD, you're waiting in the background. I'll start with you. What inspired your story? And you know what? We'll do each individual story, and then you guys can tell me what inspired this guy. All right. So let's talk about Oswald first. So what inspired Oswald?
Oh, Oswald. That's a good one. I've said this
No.
story before.
Don't
He said, "Oh no." You know what's funny?
J'ai Hughes already. J'ai Hughes.
You have said.
I remember the story a little differently.
You know what's funny? You have told this story, but I don't think you've ever told it with Daphne.
Daphne on screen.
Yeah,
No,
on
that's
screen.
never happened. So
Ah,
Daphne and I were taking a walk through Manhattan. We were going across town from the east side to the west side. We were crossing Park Avenue. Park Avenue in Manhattan, for anybody who doesn't know, they have these meridians that separate north and southbound traffic.
Right.
They're called malls, right? That's what they're called. They're called malls,
Yeah.
right? So we're walking by. It's spring or whatever it was. Might have been summer. I look over. There's some flowers because that particular avenue is just banks on all the sides, and they manicure that entire area. It's like gorgeous always. It's always immaculate. So while we were crossing, there's some flowers, and I saw some flowers chewed up, and I said, "Oh, look at that!" I said, "There's probably some fairy who's upset that some troll ate her flowers." And Daphne looked at me. She says, "That's stupid." And I was like, no, it's not. That would make a good story. And she was like, whatever.
I don't.
Yeah,
I don't agree with
I'm
the
I'm
story.
surprised she even remembers the story. First of all, I remember I
No,
was the one that was
see,
wounded.
what's funny is that it's not that I remember the story. It's just that I have seen you act a certain way with, like, I just don't believe that I actually said the word "that's stupid," because I have seen you act a certain way on other occasions when that word pops up, and that's not how you
and my
acted.
reaction this particular time was when, I dropped, because we went out, we did our thing, and then I dropped her off home, and I took the train home that night. And my reaction to that was I sat down on the train and I started writing that story.
So before you continue, JD, so for those who are watching, JD and Daphne are married. This is a married couple we're seeing, and this is a story.
That's so. It sounds exactly like I'm pretty sure everyone's kind of figured that out. With
right. But Jay, go ahead, JD, go ahead.
So I started writing that story, and what had happened was, it's called the story is the first Oswald story I ever wrote. It's called the Park Avenue Mall War, and I wanted a mechanism within the story that would tell the story, right? So Oswald was like my crypt keeper, right? So I said, it'd be interesting if I had a little mouse who was on the mall and he could talk, and he was a scribe, he was a writer, and he would tell this story, right? And that's it. And that's just how I started. And originally it wasn't a comic book, it was prose, right? So it was all prose. So I just started writing it, and there it is. And then what happened was I was going to write another story about another thing. And then I was like, okay, let me put in Oswald in that one. And then he just started taking over, and it was just became the Oswald Chronicles. And that was that. And yeah, pretty much.
At what point did you hook up with your artist? Because I know you've been working with, what was her name?
Yeah. Jay Gonzalez.
Jay Gonzalez, right.
The craziest thing is, you know how Facebook gives you that thing where it says X amount of years ago?
Yeah, the friendversary symbol or whatever. Yeah.
Right. I just saw one pop up on mine. It said 15 years ago, and it's an image from a comic I had done with, initially I done with, obviously for way back then. But I'm thinking we've been working together 14 years. So I'm like, so this was this. So it got to be 17 years at this point. Yeah, maybe 18 at the most. Yeah, it's been a while.
So that's obviously the longest, the artist you've been working with the longest.
Well, aside from Daphne.
No, aside from Daphne,
right.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I've told Daphne this. Is usually when I talk about other artists and people ask me, who's the best artist you ever worked with? Who's the greatest artist you ever worked with? I don't include Daphne in those conversations because she is always number one. It's not fair. Right? So,
flattery gets you everywhere, sir.
Yeah, right.
So she's always number one. So I don't, include her. So, but yeah.
I got you.
But other than Daphne, yes, Jake.
Thanks, Sam. Big Sam. All right, yeah, guys. Make sure, just so you guys know, make sure you check out the show notes if you're watching this on YouTube, because I do have all of your links in there. You guys, I have all your links in there, so you guys can check out a lot of the stuff that we're talking about. So Daphne, what inspired Ego Raven? Because I know we'll talk about Tall Tales in a few minutes, but Ego Raven, what inspired Ego Raven?
Yeah, so Ego Raven is my own fantasy story that I made back in, I think she started, the story actually started off as just this mascot for my website. Right. And back, I think it was pre-college. I don't remember how far back it goes. And that's all she just started off with, as the character just started out as kind of this Varga girl alter ego type of character, and all just to represent my portfolio. And the longer I had her, doing that, the more it's what is your story anyway? Yeah. All of a sudden it's I needed this character to be a little bit more than just a mascot, especially since I was kind of drawing her over and over and over again, because she was kind of an alter ego, where kind of it's a reference where her name comes from, essentially. And it just got to a point where I just started trying to come up with a story about her. And I kind of remember the catalyst, really. I was at a bookstore, and Was it? It was not Mercedes Lackey. It was Piers. No, not that's. Who's the author who wrote the Dragon Riders of Pern?
McCaffrey.
Anne McCaffrey. She had just come out with a novel called Acorna, which is about a unicorn girl. But this was more like a sci-fi thing, where the story I was building up was more fantasy oriented. And I saw that, and I got so irritated seeing that book, because it's like you're in that moment where you think like the thing that you're making up is like the most original thing in the world.
Yeah.
And seeing this book, like on one hand, it's like it was kind of foolish to think that I would think that I would be the only one coming up with an idea of a unicorn girl. And look, all you have to do is go on DeviantArt, type in unicorn girl, and you see like thousands and thousands of it. So the idea is not really, but what it showed me was that, I have to get it together and actually seriously put this story together and get it out. Because it's like, it's kind of like, it's not, the concept of a unicorn girl isn't original, but my version.
For sure.
But my story is my story, regardless of whether Anne McCaffrey came out with a novel. So I just made it a point to really work on that story. And I got to a point where I hashed out like the basic foundation of it, where I started drawing out the pages and just uploading it to my website. So she turned from a mascot to the main character of a story that I was just uploading, usually when I felt like it. So, and that was the thing, because Tall Tales was the priority book at the time.
Right.
So, but I was uploading her. So she was like kind of like my hobby book. And then it's like, it's only when we got, only got to the lockdown in 2020 that I decided, especially with all this free time, to say, what, I really got to make a serious go at this, especially when we have Kickstarter now and everything. Yeah. And 2021 was when I put out the actual printed first issue of Eagle Raven. And I am now, it's a 16 issue series, and I am now working on issue 13. Damn. And I'm about to come out with my third volume of the series. So it's been a bit of a journey, but
yeah. How many pages are each issue when you
32. I tried to keep it at 32. I have one issue that's 36, but everything else is on the point 32, because it's sketched out and done.
Yeah. So you guys, obviously, being a married couple, and like you guys have worked together.
Right.
Tall Tales obviously is the work. Do you guys ever like kind of bounce ideas back and forth? Like for Eagle Raven, for example, did you ever say to JD, "Hey, can you take a look at this? Is this making any kind of sense? Like, what do you think?"
I've done that a couple of times when I was like kind of like stuck on something, but it usually doesn't happen that much, because Jose, he tells me he's waiting for me to finish my series to read it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, so without the context of the story, I usually have to end up explaining way too much, and then I forget what I was trying to figure out.
That's true.
As talking about it, I end up figuring out. So
JD, you want to enjoy it as a fan rather than somebody who's looking to find, hey, maybe there's a plot.
I mean,
definitely you just want to enjoy it as a fan.
Definitely as a harsh critic.
Oh, brother!
Wow.
He's harsh critic.
Hard critic.
He can't judge it on one issue alone, so he needs the.
I need the whole thing as a whole.
So now let's chat about Tall Tales. So whose brainchild is Tall Tales, and how did this come about? Like, okay.
Yeah. So way back when, I mean, this is a long time ago. So, I was a huge fan of Dungeons and Dragons. I was a huge fan of Disney's Robin Hood, right?
Oh, okay.
And it wasn't just me at the time. It was a couple other, at least one other friend. He had helped me out, and what happened was we were talking about this concept for a while. He was an artist, and we had just gotten out of high school. I was going to go into the military, right? And he didn't want me to go. So he was like, I'll do a comic book with you. Seriously.
Really?
And, yeah. And he was like, I'll do a comic book with you. And he was an artist. And through him, I met all the other artists at Art and Design. And then through those, like I met his friends, they became my friends. And it was all through Dungeons and Dragons. We played Dungeons and Dragons. We played these crazy superhero games, wrestling games. It was all RPGs, right? And one of the guys that had met Sid, he had said, yo, I'm going to bring you the best artists from my class. You know, that's how I met Daphne, right? I still owe him a dinner. That's how I met Daphne. I met Matthew. I met Zach Winston. A bunch of other people. I mean, you know, a lot of great people. Ran across a lot of individuals who became professionals within the business because they went to school with Daphne and man, all those guys. Yeah. So, yeah. And then the two of us came up with this idea. The only place where we split was I wanted to make the story serious. He wanted me to make it more cartoony and funny or whatever. And I was just like, no. You know, it just wasn't the mindset I was in at the time. So it was just like, so I was like, all right, you know, so we ended up breaking apart. He said, you know, keep doing it, man. And I just kept doing it. I started working with other people. Then eventually Sid introduced me to Daphne. I introduced her to the project. She was like, oh yeah, let's do it. So there it is.
And then, also I was more than happy to take actually I think I had asked, like, you know, does it really need to be a comedy?
Right.
You know, like, so it's kind of like our how we were interpreting the project was literally on the same page.
Yeah, because neither one of us wanted to do anything funny.
Right.
Although we do have one character.
Yeah.
Who's funny.
Right. Yeah.
And he's Ralph. His name is Ralph. And he's a sorcerer and he's a porcupine.
Right.
And he's kind of short and he's a little stout. And, you know, he's more likely to punch you in the face than cast a spell at you. So, you know.
And he kind of became a fan favorite.
Yeah, because of it. Yeah.
How do you guys work together? When you were working together, was it more like the Marvel method or was it more like the DC method?
It's a hybrid because the way I work is I don't do panel, page.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
No, what I'll do is I'll write out the whole script though. Mm-hmm. So it's scene, dialogue, you know, if I have any word balloons, captions, or anything like that, it's all in there. But I let the artist establish the pacing. So they'll break down the page however they want. So if they want to do a 6 grid page, they can do a 6 grid page, 9 grid, whatever they want to put in a splash randomly here or there. I let them pick that.
Yeah, because it's like I have like his latest script, and I'm literally like just highlighting scenes and then like breaking them down. Like you see, like these numbers on the side here. There's right here are like me breaking down the scenes. And that's what I do. And I try to find, so this is how I break down his scripts. Mm-hmm. And then it's like trying to find the scenes and the panels and then how the dialogue breaks, which informs how the page is going to look. So it's a whole thing.
So now, I like that actually. I mean, from your point of view, JD, it allows you to write freely without having to stop and think about a panel, think about it, you know, whatever. You just kind of you're writing, you're just writing the story. Yeah. And then Daphne, for you, it allows you to like kind of flex your creative muscle and say, oh, all right, I kind of see it this. Do you find like it's more work though? Do you find
well, I mean, the thing that trips me up sometimes is that I have to I can't. Sometimes I've made the mistake of like only doing like pages at a time. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it turns out that if I don't read the entire script all at once, there's a detail at the end that needed to appear at the beginning.
Yeah, I got you.
And it's like there was this one scene in one of the later issues where like I'm drawing the whole thing, I'm drawing the panels as I'm going through the script. And then I hit the part in the script where Jose finally mentions that this one character had a missing arm. And the entire time I had no idea. I had no, because when he introduced the character, he never mentioned it.
Right.
And then I had to figure out a solution. Instead of like going back and redrawing everything, I had to figure out a solution for the missing arm, which instead I turned it into something else, because all of a sudden it's like, okay, I have to explain why he looks normal. Wow. So it required some creative thinking on my part that luckily, I guess, it didn't take away too much, because Jose never mentioned it. He never made it. He just said, it's like, that's why you're supposed to read the whole thing first.
Yes.
So he goes, I write these out for you in full for a reason. And then so after that, I always make it a point to actually really go through.
Read it. Right.
Yeah. And the thing is I'd written not just that one issue. I wrote the whole arc.
He wrote the whole thing.
Yeah, like I wrote it was 8 issues. I wrote all 8 issues, and I say, here you go. So
but I thought I was being efficient by working as I went through the script, but instead I ended up tripping myself up, with that detail. So, but it worked out. It worked out, but I learned my lesson.
That is fantastic, man. Now, JD, have you changed the way you kind of write for artists now at that point? Do you say, hey, by the way, this character is going to lose an arm, or, you know what I mean? This is going to happen to this character.
Well, okay.
Or this character doesn't have an arm.
Right. I will, if, depending on the artist.
Right.
Like with Jade, like, I'll just write it out and just give it to her. And then and here's the thing though, is when I give her a new script, she'll send me a list of like, it's gone as long as 50 questions concerning the script, and she'll have question, and I'll go through it line by line, and I'll answer every question as I go through it. And and it's like, okay, and she's very detailed. And the thing is Reño does the same thing. As another artist I work with, he does the same thing. He's like, okay, I got a bunch of questions, all right, line them up and I'll knock them down. But I try now to really explain, if I have a new character, say this is what they look like, this and this. Typically, the reasons I stopped doing that early on, like even doing like a panel, or a page that I want to see a certain way, right? And I've said this before, is like I'll explain it in detail, and I'll never get it back the way I asked for it. Now, that's not to say that I get back a bad page. It's usually great, but it's just not what I asked for, So that's one of the reasons I stopped doing that.
Well, because also it's like it's more like, it's more like he doesn't get what he visualized.
Right.
Because I'm assuming you get what you want, because technically it's all there, but it's not how you visualized it.
Right. Yeah. And the other thing is like, I do like allowing the artists to express themselves. Right. Like if, I just explain the scene and they're like, okay, then they'll add their thing to it, and it works, that's one good thing. Now I have worked in the past where I was breaking it down page by page, but that's when I was working professionally, and it wasn't really for the artist. It was for the editor.
For the editor. Right.
So they could understand it. And then, that was Matthew. And then like, I would hand them a script that was supposed to be 24 pages and they would come back 32 pages.
Yeah, that's also the other thing too. That's kind of, because like with my story, I deliberately make them 32 pages, like on the nose, because I have everything sketched out. But when it comes to his scripts, he'll think his scripts are a lot shorter than they are.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's like, because we did an Oswald Eagle-Raven crossover at one point, and he thought the story was going to be 6 pages, and I go, you gave me this is going to be 16 pages. How did you think all of this is going to fit in 6 pages?
That's
right? Because I like to let scenes breathe a bit, and like, and it's like, and I have this thing about like timing, like the panels have to like time correctly as
Mhm, mhm.
you know, and it's like yeah, so it's like, so I don't know how he expected that story to be 6
And
pages.
I think the type it was typed. It was like what, like 3 pages?
Yeah,
Uh,
something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
it was
you were
like
like,
3
yeah, it's
pages.
You
So I'm
know,
like,
and
it's like 4 pages, 5, 6.
right, no.
It's not that much.
You know, it's
Yeah.
16 pages. So yeah,
like,
so that's kind of like, you know, the trick with this, because Tall Tales, the page is kind of like, they're not as consistent, although like later on I tried to force them to be more consistent, because
Yeah.
you know how it is. It's like the more pages, every page is money you're spending
yeah,
to print.
sure. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
So, you know, you kind of still need
Yeah.
to, you kind of have to force that consistency at a certain point. But it's still kind of tricky though, because it's like, well, then again, it took me a while to really understand how to like, if I say, okay, this story is going to be 12 pages or 16 pages or 32 pages or 24 pages, it took me a while to really figure out how to break down a script enough to fit in those parameters.
Mm.
Man,
Yeah.
I love it. You know, it's funny. I've known you guys for
Right.
long, and I've never
Yeah.
actually sat down with the both of you and kind of like
Huh.
broke down your process of working together. Because you know, like for us, you know, like it would be a dream to like marry an artist so that we could just create comics together, right?
Usually
And
it's
here
like,
you are.
it's because like people think they can get free artwork all the
Right,
time.
right, yeah,
You're right.
exactly. Oh man, well, listen. What's coming up next for you guys? I know I have, you know, stuff obviously in the show notes, but is there anything I should add down there? Like what you have I'm sure JD, you guys always have campaigns running. So what do you guys have coming up?
The
Well,
Daphne.
like, well, for me, in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be launching, like I said, Eagle Raven Volume 3. This is my proof copy right
Nice.
here. So this is the 3rd volume collecting issues 9 through 12 of this series. For those of you who are not familiar, Eagle Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn, is the story of a unicorn princess exiled into the mortal realm who trains to become a knight, hoping to win a king's favor and save her people. So volume 3, we're 3/4 into the story, so there's like 4 more issues left to complete the series, so we're almost there. So this the pre-launch page is up, and I'm looking to launch in probably the next couple of weeks. I just have to decide whether I want it to launch on the 8th or on the 15th. I have this thing for always wanting to launch like the middle of the week or the Ides, because I have this thing for Julius Caesar, William Shakespeare, and there's always this thing about the Ides, beware the Ides of March. So I always have this thing where it's like, okay, I always have to launch during the Ides of a month. So I don't know if I'm going to hold on to that this
All right,
you know,
all
or
right.
not. But you know, I think we all have like this kind of like this weird thing where it's like, you know, like Sam had said that he always he always wants to launch on his birthday.
Yeah.
Right. So I think we kind of like this lucky day or lucky week or
Yeah.
something, this lucky time of the month where it's
Yeah.
like we want to launch our campaigns.
I remember
So
when I launched Wonder Duck, I launched it around my birthday. And
right.
yeah, it was that, yeah, same thing.
Uh-huh.
So you're okay, so cool. Do me a favor, just you message me your link so I could just add it to,
Oh,
I don't think
I'll do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I made it really easy. So it's eagleraven.com, EGORAVEN.com, and it'll take you straight to the pre-launch page.
Okay, perfect.
Uh-huh.
Perfect. All right, cool. What about you?
But I'll put
JD?
it in the chat.
Yeah, I mean, I have a special day that I always like to launch on, and it's and the day just ends with day. So you know,
Could be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Go
Well,
ahead.
typically I launch either on a Friday or a Monday.
Do you? Okay. All right.
Typically I launch
All
on a
right.
Friday or a Monday.
So you have one coming up though.
Always.
Always.
I mean, I have 3 of them that just wrapped up, like almost back to back. So I have to fulfill all of those. So I'm waiting for books to come back for the printer.
Gotcha.
But once that's done, the next one is I got 2 of them. I got Dreamweavers number 3, right? So that's coming up. And then I have the Oswald Chronicles number 1, and it's going to be okay. So what it is I produce the books in black and white, and then I'm slowly putting them out in color. So this would be the first issue of a story called We Were Just Passing Through, and it's the first issue, and it's the first time it's going to be released in color.
Oh, cool. All right.
So,
Perfect. Awesome.
We'll see. And then after that, I got 3 and 4 of A Country Night in New York City. And then after that will be the trade paperback for On the Wings of Deidre.
Oh, awesome, dude. And so for those watching, there it is, Tall Tales, right on the top shelf there.
Right.
Tall Tales, for those, once we reach that 20 backer goal, we'll be, raffling off these books. So thank you guys so much for allowing me to use your book as one of the books on the rack.
And mind you, I gave you a lot of the first either standalones or first volumes, so that you're not raffling off a book that puts somebody in the middle of the story.
Right.
But if they had wanted to get an idea as to like how big this story is, this is all of our trade paperbacks for this series alone.
Nuts. Nuts.
So, yeah, and there's one more that I have to finish. I'm 2 issues away from finishing one more trade paperback, and then we have one more story arc to finish after that. But yeah.
And then is it done, or you guys are going to continue it?
I think after that final story arc that Jose he's waiting for me to finish this. The 2 issues that are left for this story arc, Tears of the Mother, that he's going to start on the last story arc.
Yeah.
Okay.
So hopefully that'll be like another 12 issues.
Yeah, I'm figuring. It's funny because originally I was like, yeah, it's going to be 30 issues. And then I was like, nah, let's shoot for 8 to 12.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Or else
so we're going to shoot for 8 to 12. So yeah,
I mean, this took long enough for us to put out. So
yeah,
good for you guys, though. Yeah. Good for you guys. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for coming on. And I'll see you guys on Sunday. You guys are gonna be at Hills, right?
Forest Hills Comic Con.
Yeah, Forest Hills Comic Con in Queens, New York. For those who are in the area, come check it out. I'll see you guys then. All right, guys. Thanks so much.
So good luck with your campaign.
Yes.
I appreciate you.
Bye. Good night. Good night.
All right. That was awesome. I have another guest coming in. Let's bring him right in. This gentleman has a book. I loved the character the moment I saw it. The character or the book's name is End of Zed. Let me bring in Mr. Ed Lima into the stage here. Let's bring him in here. Eddie, what's up?
Hey, what's going on, George? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
This is a who's who of the indie scene, boy. I'm privileged to be here. You got JD, you got Daphne, you got Laurie, and of course you got Sam. I mean, man.
Was in here. Yeah, I had the guys from Technigods, Michael Sammartino and Robert Flanagan. So yeah, we had a few guys, we had a few people, man. And I'm thank you so much for joining me tonight.
I'm not worthy, man. That's too much of a crew. You got the A team here, man. You got the A team.
And check out what Bana's reading right there. Bana's reading End of Zed. End of Zed. He's all about that life.
See, that's what I wanted to ask you. I'm sensing a little. Do you sense any jealousy there? Do you sense anyone being mad at you? Like, why did
he's like, yo, what's up with
the books are worthy?
He's like, why does this robot look cooler than me right now? What's going on here? Yeah, he's kind of upset.
Please. Oh gosh, I got to tell you, I was so when you first showed me that. Gosh, what a privilege to be really part of not only this project, but certainly part of the launch, and to see him reading End of Zed is just. Boy, it gave me goosebumps. It literally did. So I really appreciate that, George. Really. It's so cool to be part of this project, man.
Listen, man, I told you from day one, man. I was as soon as I saw your book, I was like, holy cow, this thing is dope, dude. Like, I need to know more about this. And I'm so glad that we've gotten to know each other since. And we've met for lunch. And the last time we met, we had a really cool conversation just about the book and where you're going with it. And I love what you have planned for this thing. And okay, so when people were coming in, I asked them 2 questions, right? The one question was, what inspired you to create the book? And the next question is, at what point did you say, okay, you know what? I'm ready. I'm ready to do this. I'm putting this out as a comic. what was the inspiration, and then when did you?
Yeah, I mean, the story was always inside of my head. I mean, even kind of maybe psychotically, some people may think, because when you have these ideas in your head and you roll around, especially when you're younger, they're exaggerating everything, and so it kind of goes along the lines of your book, which I want to talk about your book, because reading the first issue is just going to be so exciting to read the rest of the graphic novel. And
thank you.
Being in a strange place, being in a place where you could live through Joaquin's eyes, exactly, his environment he had and how it reflects you. I mean, that's one of the things I heard. If you write, what you are and who you are, it's always going to come out great. So in terms of the Shameless plug, I can see that's exactly the power of it. And that's the power of N to Z. N to Z was always something I had in the back of my head. And one of the main things was like always as a kid, because I guess, remember, I grew up in the science fiction age of Star Wars and all that stuff, and I always envisioned, like, if I had a robot with me and had to explain to him the world, how would I explain it,
Right,
and when you break things down to simplistics, for example, like if I'm traveling to work with a robot, let's say a robot from outer space, and he wants to know what the world's about, right? And we're traveling through the highway and he's looking around, and he goes, okay, what are these guys in the cars doing in this rush hour? Oh, well, these are humans that go to work. And then be like, well, why do you have to go to work for it? Well, we have homes and we got to eat and we got families. And then you would explain it to them. Oh, okay, well, why do you need a home? So as you break down, as you're kind of simplistically telling someone about life, I think it really breaks down life to its essence, right? You end up finding out, wow, is that really what life is when you're saying it to a simplistic way, to like a robot like that. So that was really the germ of the idea in terms of N to Z.
Point, that was exactly what had my attention, was the robot, the design of that robot. Just, I was like, I'm in. I don't have to know too much about the story. I just loved the design of the character. At what point did you decide, okay, it's going to be a comic and I'm ready to put it out? Because I'm knowing you and we've spoken about this, I know the answer, but I want people to know, like, at what point, what was it? When did you say, okay, it's time?
Shout out to Lupins. I see Lupins there. Excellent. What it was is that it was a time where I knew that every year I wanted to do something different. I wanted to do something that, start off the year with a project, and I'm going to do this project, and no matter what, I'm going to see it through. And one was to write a screenplay. I always wanted to write a movie screenplay. And I decided, this is it. This is the story. This is the moment. I'm going to learn how to write a screenplay, a movie screenplay, and things like that. And then I'm going to take it from there. Then after a year of doing that, I said, well, I don't have, I'd have George Medina money or Sam Vera money. And I can't, I can't go make a full-fledged movie or an animation on it. So what I ended up doing was, let's make a comic book. It's very graphical by nature. And so it'd be great to connect these with graphics, and then there you go. And yes, the germ of the idea was also the character. The character is so important. I appreciated what you showed in the beginning of your show. The idea of the character and how that comes to life. So, I wanted to do that justice, the character that I created in Zed.
And you're an artist, right? Like you have a background in art. So, but I know you did hire someone to draw the book. Was there a reason why you decided not to draw it yourself?
Yeah, well, I'm not really a good sequential artist. I mean, I can certainly draw him on a poster. I could draw him in a scene, but it will take me like about a good month. And so I don't think that's, practical in terms of writing a whole comic book, trying to do the character. But it also made me very aware of working with other people on a vision, right? When you're your own artist, you're working on your own vision, there's really no issues. But when you have to kind of translate that with an artist, translate it with other people that are working on the project, it's a little hard, especially something that's as personal as writing your own comic. When you have a project that's so super personal like that, sometimes, you learn a good lesson on your patience, and you learn a good lesson on what your expectations are of other people. But it worked out good because, the artist that helped me, Lucas Assis, and a G, who's my colorist, they really hit it out of the park. And the whole way, I wanted to make sure that they stayed close to the vision, because at the end of the day, that's what I'm paying for,
Yeah. No, for sure. And, it's funny you mentioned the word paying them for. We think, okay, it's going to be too expensive to do this as a movie or whatever. And so you decide to do a comic. And while it is less expensive, obviously, it's still costly. Like, it's not like it's cheap to produce a comic.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh.
So,
I learned that.
Right. No, for sure. The script, as far as when you wrote the script, and I was talking to JD and Daphne about, how do you write your scripts? Is it a full script, or panel 1, panel 2, panel 3? Or
it's a full It's basically like a movie script, but more like on the prose style.
Okay.
So, you know, as you know, if you write like a movie script, especially in the prose style, there's an art to even breaking that up into like a comic book script, right? What are the panels going to look like? What's the sequence of the panels and things like that? So I'm learning, and I learned the hard way again, you know, the difference between the way it could be written as a script and then trying to connect it into the comic strip world, you know. The first experience was amazing, though. I got to tell you, the whole Kickstarter thing, you know, the whole, you know, trying to get the word out there. And it was really such a very great learning experience. I was, you know, really embraced by the indie community, you and Sam, you know, first and foremost. And so those things really help. And so it's really cool to see the community behind everything, you know. As you can see tonight, the community that's coming out to support you, you know.
Dude, everybody's just so, and you're right. Once, I mean, I think that again, it's about finding that connection, right? And like, you know, fitting into, you know, you're finding your tribe and fitting into what we're doing. And it's funny to me that we didn't know each other from a hole in the wall, right? Before this whole thing. And to have two stories that are very similar in tone and in theme, right? The theme of like being a fish out of water kind of thing. And like what's happening here and trying to figure it out. I love that, dude. And you know, the character was one thing, but then the story really grabbed me, dude. Really grabbed me. And I know that you're still, you know, working and tweaking and adding stuff to the story. I know the first issue came out. This is planned as a similar to what I'm doing. It's a graphic novel. Are you doing an ongoing?
No, it'll be a graphic novel. Yeah, I mean, it's turned into, you know, it's turned into like about 100, you know, over 100 pages. So this thing is going to be, it's got to be a bigger book for it, you know. But the feedback I've been getting on is great. Actually, I'm looking for some beta readers. So if there's any out there, like, you know, like Sammartino or Lupin or someone, you know, who wants to maybe want to read, just like you did. You gave me, and I texted you how much I appreciated the feedback you gave, because you know it is, and I think you could probably relate to this, right? Whenever you have a project, sometimes you work so close with it, it's like you don't really get to see it from that third person perspective anymore. It's like like an elephant in the room. All you see is just like gray and wrinkles, right? You know, after a while, you don't, you know, you really lose touch, and so the reviews have been great. The feedback is really a gift, but I'm still in that phase, you know. But I'm ready to pull the trigger because it's really exciting. It's really exciting that the better it keeps getting, and I really think something that people are going to dig, you know.
No, dude, it really is. It really is a good story, and what I loved about, like, and thank you for allowing me to kind of like read that, but you also allowed for, you know, honest feedback. I never felt like, oh man, I can't say this to Eddie. It was a good conversation when we were having it about some of the things that you were like, well, I was going for this. What do you think? You know, and you had questions like, did this happen? Did this? And I was like, oh shoot, that's a good question. Right? Did it? And it made me think about, you know, it was like critical. It was like critical thinking, and I was like, oh shoot, it felt like, you know, it was fun.
And I wasn't certainly grilling you. It's not like, okay, let me see if this brother really read it, man. I'm gonna really investigate.
People say they read my stuff.
No, it's not that. It's because literally, if you don't get it, or there's something that you missed, that's on me. That's on no one else. That's on me who wrote it. That's on me, the words I particularly use and the rhythm of it. So, I mean, I tell you, that feedback is really a gift, you know. But now, you know, I'm a little, you know, I think I'm a little more anxious than usual. Because I tell you, as I always told you and Sam, man, whether you believe it or not, or all the other great people that you had on, it's like people watch you, and I never miss a show. You may not hear me chime in with my corny jokes, but I never miss a show between you two. And the last show between you and Sam was really profound, man. I got to tell you, I've been thinking about that so much in terms of, you know, and I would love to talk to Sam about it. So get him back on here, but talk about in terms of, you know, social media and the time that's spent on it. And then of course, Kickstarter being one of those things that you really need to click in order for your story to get out there. So it's a different scene now, even than it was a couple of years ago. So
it is, man.
It's interesting.
You know and you know, the thing about social media is that just like it allows you to have an audience, so to speak, it can also beat you down, because you know, we're so big on the likes and comments, and you know, we always, when you look at a show, make sure you like, make sure you comment, make sure you share. And if you're not getting the likes, you're not getting the comments, you're not getting the shares, you're like, what am I doing this for? And you start questioning yourself, like, what am I doing this for? And so it could really deter you from what you really want to do, which is tell stories, right?
Correct.
Tell these stories that you want to share with people. And when you're not getting the feedback, it's like, what am I doing this for? You know, and I think that you all have those moments. I honestly, I reached out to Sam, like, just because I hadn't heard from him, like, yo, everything, but he's been busy with work and stuff like that.
Yeah, sure.
He was taking a little break from it. And so when I don't hear, like, even from you, like, if I don't hear from you for a little bit, I'm like, damn, I hope Eddie didn't stop working on his book, because I really want you guys to finish. And that's with all my friends. My friend Anibal, I want him to finish his book. I want my friend Jonathan to finish I want you guys to finish your project, because somebody needs your story. I feel that. I believe that somebody needs the story you're telling. Somebody needs it. You may not think it's there. I'm just right. No, somebody needs to read that, whatever it is, for whatever
Completely
reason.
agree. Completely right.
And I appreciate you saying that about, how it made you think about it, because I mean, I think we all go through it. I think it's a normal thing. We all kind of like experience that.
Well, listen, you guys are in the forefront of this. So whatever you guys do in terms of what you're doing to get your campaigns going, how you treat social media, how you work within the, Kickstarter environment, those things are important for people like me, because, I learned from you guys. You guys actually school me on that. And we're in a weird time, man. I got to tell you, this isn't, like, marketing back in the day was easy. Again, I'm old school. So I'm like from the 80s. Yeah. Like it was very simple. You wanted to sell something, get Michael Jackson on there with a bottle of Coke. Or Pepsi, right? I drink this, and everyone and their mother's gonna go out and drink Pepsi, right? It's not that way anymore. The scene has changed, and everything has changed. Now, unfortunately, what's at stake here is that you got a lot of great stories. And again, the Shameless plug, an amazing story that's universal. And I mean, hopefully, no spoiler alert, but can I talk about a particular section of the book?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, yeah. And particularly when he gives me some post-traumatic trauma when I think of Chip on the bus, and when you see Chip, and and I'm going to say you, but obviously it's Joaquin, his fear of and really the bus back in the days was like a jungle, like people jumping all over the place. It was wild. It really was. Yeah. And then your first introduction of Chip and how everyone knew what time it was with him. Like, oh no, listen, and I believe his friend who he sits next to. He goes to Joaquin, listen, man, what happened to his brother? Like, those are universal stories that, that I think have to be told. That feeling that I got from reading that was very, it was very close. Not that I really got bullied a lot, but I do remember the idea of bullies and other people being bullied and having to see the humiliation of what they would have to go through. Right. So that story, what it does to me, it made me become a fan of Joaquin right away. Because, his story of his family, his story of, of the school environment, and then, what things mean to him and things about his history and his past. So I tell you, I can't wait for the graphic novel, man. Can't wait. Man.
Yeah, you know why? Because, and I was, so the purpose of the first campaign was to kind of like get your feet wet and get people, just interested. Because if you read the first 40 pages, you don't meet Bana, the Shameless plug, until towards the end of that. Chapter, because the beginning of the chapter is all about Joaquin and this kid and his lifestyle, and where he comes from, and and I was a little leery. I was like, damn, I was worried about that. I was like, damn, maybe I should have introduced Bana a little sooner. But no. I feel like there's a pace to the story, and you'll see obviously once you get the graphic novel, you'll see he is in most of the book, because he is a Shameless plug. But I felt like I didn't want to sacrifice the story for the eye candy. Like that kind of stuff. And, sometimes it's hard to, as a writer, it's, you have to make those decisions. Right. Sure. And I think that, and going back to your story, like you've made some decisions in your story. I'm like, oh man, that's good. Sure. Okay. When we were talking about, we're like, oh, okay, that's what that, and I think it's important when you're telling the story that you don't rush it, or you don't,
correct.
Let's move this in before, because we need the bang factor on this page, because it is a comic. I think comics have evolved from just the simple boom, pat, tap, boom, boom. It's like now there's stories that are being told in these books that mean something to people, and that's the beauty of being indie. We can write those kind of stories, and it's okay, But I appreciate you saying that, Eddie. I really do, man. I really do.
No, I think people are going to get excited for it. I know I'll tell as many people as I can about it. Really, it's well illustrated. It's the design of it's dope, and of course the main character, man. Like I can't wait to see what he's going to do in the rest of the story. So excellent,
appreciate it, my brother. Thank you so much.
And I'm trying to get on your campaign now. I'm trying to get the Lou Pons cover, but I can't do it. So I don't know if there's something wrong with my password. I'm going to have to go in there and unless that's limited. Is that a limited cover?
So the Lupons, it's a print. It's a print that she did for me. So it's going to be a print.
Okay, for the print, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So it's going to be it's one of our stretch goals. So once we reach 1,000.
Gotcha. Okay, that's why I couldn't get it. Okay, all right.
Yeah, everybody gets one. So yeah, for sure.
Because she did a dope cover with the Cosmic Wars one. Did you see that? That was
it was gorgeous. Gorgeous. I mean, Lou is so talented. I'm actually going to have her on the show because I want to talk about her process for that. Yes. So I'm going to have her in the next couple of weeks. I'll have her on and we'll talk. We'll really dive into what she did. And for those watching, if you haven't done so, I do have a video talking about End of Zed with Eddie in detail. We broke the story down. So you guys want to check that out. There's some behind the scenes stuff in there. Some of the animation that you did for it, I think we also posted on there. So definitely, you guys, check it out. And thank you. What's next? Tell me what are we doing next? When can we expect more of that? What are we doing?
I think I'm pretty much at the end of getting all these revisions done, man. It's really exciting. Again, our talk that we had a couple months ago, it really ignited a lot. And plus, I sent it over to a couple of reviewers too. Yeah. So this thing is getting a little bit bigger than I thought it would. But like you mentioned before, it's my passion, man. And like you said, I appreciate what you said in terms of all of us got a story to tell. And some of us may have a piece of poetry, a line of poetry. Some of us may have lyrics to a song. Some of us may have a whole full-fledged movie, whatever, but whatever it is, all of us got a story that we got to tell. And so I certainly got to tell mine. And I certainly appreciate the people that are helping me along the way. And I mean that any test readers out there, please, step forward and then I'll let you get a look at it so I can get your criticism of it, because I certainly need it. So.
Hell yeah. I do have stuff in the show notes for everybody. Ed, if you have like a link or something you want me to share on there, just send me that link because I'll add it to the show notes as well, so that people can get to, they can follow you and follow what you're doing and what's going on with End of Zed. And I'm looking forward to the rest of it, man. I really am. Sure.
Yeah, excellent. And thanks again for putting me on, giving me, there he is. He's reading End of Zed.
Hey, listen, man.
And you can tell everyone I didn't give you any money for that, right? It's not like I had to slip you a quick $100 bill so you can put it on there. That's his taste, man. He wanted to read it. What can I say, man?
That's what he wanted to do. What are you going to do? Thank you so much for coming on, my brother. And we'll chat soon. Definitely send me that link so I can post it.
All right. Be well, everyone. Brother. Take care, man.
Peace. All right. We have another gentleman waiting in the background. He is an incredible dude, man. I met him a few years ago. He's got his own podcast, talking to Indie Comics Relay, with a good friend of ours, JohnnyC. But we are going to be talking to one third of that podcast right now. And let me just share this one more time. You see that little guy down here, the Mighty Mascots? Let's bring the creator of that book right now. Mr. Keith.
Hey, what's going
Gleason. What's up, Keith?
What's up, man? What an intro. That was great, man.
Dude,
thank you so much.
Thank you, man. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for allowing the Mighty Mascots to be part of the spinner rack. But how you been, man? Everything all right?
Yeah, dude. I mean, I mean, honestly, like just having another all ages book out there, I think it's great, man, and I'm looking forward to reading the rest of this story too.
Thank you, dude. Yeah,
like I'm glad. It didn't seem like it's been that long since your last one. How long has it been since like the?
Oh, so it was. It's funny, man. It was October. So October, I launched the first chapter, right? And obviously I had been working on the book behind the scenes. Obviously the first 40 pages were done. But when that launched, I had, because it's a 140 page book, I must have had like 80 something pages already done. And then one day, dude, I was just kind of like just sitting around. I'm like, you know what, man? I'm just going to do it. I'm going to do the Kickstarter for the rest of the thing. Let me just get it done. Because I did have like a pre-order set up. And a lot of people pre-ordered the book already, which I actually have to show you guys the cover that I actually won, because I did have people vote for 4 covers.
Oh, cool.
So
Nice.
I'll show that. I'll show that in a little bit.
Yeah,
But,
the marketing on this has been great, dude.
thank
Like,
you, man.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
And that's the tough part, man. Just getting the word out. And you know, man, we
Oh yeah.
especially for young, like young adults and for like a younger reader, like, you know, Kickstarter is tough for that kind of stuff. So what I did was I did pre-orders on my website, which I have a ton of pre-orders. So thank you very much for everybody who already pre-ordered the book. But I figured let me go on Kickstarter, because sometimes, you know, people don't trust individual websites. Like, who the hell is this guy?
True.
You know what I mean? So, and
Yeah.
they want something that's more they can trust. Kickstarter is obviously probably the biggest crowdfunding platform there is. And so I decided to bring it on there. Mr. Arroyo's in the house. What up, Anibal?
Oh, nice. I don't know. Yeah, dude, it's hard to crack that code though, you know, like
it is
just marketing, everything, like, you know, it's like it only goes so far, and you know, the algorithms, everything, you know what I mean? Everything is against us as creators. It's
it's insane. It's insane.
Yeah, it really is. But yeah, no, dude, I'm looking forward. I think I told you this already, that I think the Shameless Plug could be your best work. I think it is your best work.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Like,
Thank you.
I love it's such a unique story too, which I really like, and it taps into that YA stuff, but like not in a bad way, because a lot of that stuff I feel is like I feel like kids don't want that stuff. Like, because I think back to like comics we grew up on, and they were so much more like today. Those comics be considered R-rated, like, you know, and like, like I'm thinking of like G.I. Joe, like when we were growing up, like the G.I. Joe comic that Larry Hama wrote was pretty much like reading like real life like war journals, you know, like, and it was like for kids, you know. It's like I don't know, like I just feel like that stuff was like more, I don't know, like kids like that stuff, because you feel like you're reading something that's a little more adult and not talking down to you, like, you know what I mean? Like,
I think so.
And that's the compliment I could give your book, is like I felt like I'm reading this like really, you know, heartfelt story about this kid and like having to move in, you know, into this new life, and then like and then the Shameless Plug is just like just a cool looking character, you know, like
dude. I love, like, you know, my artist, and he also says my fellow QB, because you went to the Cubert school. You guys,
yes.
Quick shout out to Phillip Russertt, Mr. Phillip Russertt. Hello, Phillip.
Hey,
What's
Phil.
up, Phil?
What's going on?
And Gen X was hardcore. Seriously,
we were, man.
It was, but no, man. You know, to your point, I really appreciate you saying that. I think that you know, part of the reason for the story and the way, and I was talking about Joseph Alaska. I'm sorry, I got sidetracked. His artwork, man, what he did with the character, he really made him look really cool, and I loved what he did with it. So I went with it, and I had to say, big shout out to Joseph, man, because you know you work with artists, and it's tough to find an artist who, you know, is consistent and will finish,
but also like that's going to be in the long haul with you. Like 140 pages is no joke. Like, you know, that's not like a 20, you know, a one issue one and done type of thing, you know. That's like that's what, maybe 7 issues if you broke it down to like floppy numbers.
So what I did for the book is so I didn't send them 140 pages. I explained this at the beginning, because I think that would have scared him to hell. I would be like, what the hell am I doing with 140 pages, bro? Like, are you crazy? Like, when are we finishing this? So what I did was I broke it down into 5 books.
Okay.
And the reason why I did 5 books, and they're not all the same amount of pages. So like the first one was like 32. I try to keep it within what a comic book would be. So when I sent it to him, they weren't necessarily cliffhangers like you would have in a comic.
Gotcha.
You know,
but they were like clear, like chapter breaks.
Boom. Yeah, it was like, okay, this is where this ends, you know. And I wrote it almost like I used a 5-act structure versus the 3-act structure. So I wrote it that way, and I sent it to him that way, so that he wasn't overwhelmed by the amount of pages. And I think that's why it worked for us. That's why he was able to finish everything, and he was like, okay. And we would do it in increments of 5. So 5 pages. He'd send me 5 pages. Payment went out. 5 pages. Payment went out. and he's doing everything, colors, pencils, inks, and colors.
That's nice. Yeah, like
You know
you
what I
can't
mean?
beat
So
that. Yeah.
yeah, so that really worked out for me, and but it's like I said, it's tough, and I mean, listen, the Mighty Mascots, you've been working on this. I mean, what issue are you up to, like 13, 14?
I just finished. I finished 10 this past year, and I'm like starting to write 11 now in between the kid switch stuff. So
yeah,
like I'm starting to. It's hard to find time to do like everything though. It's like.
No,
man, I'm not telling you anything.
No, it is,
but
dude,
like,
it is.
like a sneak, like an outline here, or like, you know what I mean?
Right,
like you're doing multiple things, and it's just,
Yeah, no, for sure. So when I had everybody come in, as they came in, I was asking them two things, right? What inspired you to write your book, and at what point were you like, okay, I'm ready to put this out into the world for the Mighty Mascots?
Yeah, with Mighty Mascots, that was more just like an idea that just popped off like out of nowhere, like, and I was like, oh, I love this. Like, I have not seen something like this before. Like, I've shared this story many times, but like the idea was initiated by like a T-shirt my wife bought me, and it was basically like a T-shirt of like the real like cereal mascots all like hanging out on the shirt, and it said like Breakfast Club on it or something like that. And I was like looking at that and I was like, dude, there's something to that. Like, like I didn't know, I didn't know what it would be eventually, but like that idea was like sparked just on that shirt.
Yeah.
And I was like, like no one's ever really done stuff with mascots, or it's been few and far between.
Yeah.
And then just like, I was thinking of more like, at first it was because reality shows were huge at the time. This is going back to like 2014 or something. And I was like, oh, maybe they're all hanging out in this house and like, it's a reality show. And, like, like Captain Crunch and Tony the Tiger hate each other or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
And then like when I started thinking about it as a superhero book or a cartoon, that was when it kind of like clicked. And then I just kind of, it took a while to kind of develop the rules of the world and the villains and like how it's all going to connect and things like that, Yeah. But it was kind of an easy one because I am inspired by the stuff I grew up on, whether it be comics or cartoons and, things like that.
Yeah.
So to me, this was like a no-brainer to do. Like I just, it's a love letter to my childhood, and I just hope enough people like the same things, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
And what was the second part of the question?
So at what point were you like, all right, it's going to be a comic and I'm putting it out? Like,
well, that kind of the same thing. Like it was kind of like I knew right from the start it would be a comic, like I because I wanted to just write like the kind of comics I loved growing up, like the ones that Marvel used to do, like because I start my foot into the industry was stuff like the Transformers book that Marvel had, or G.I. Joe, and all the stuff that was like Indiana Jones and all that stuff. And so it was like stuff that was cartoons, and then you eventually found the comic. And then like once I started trying other things, I kind of fell in love with the whole Marvel universe. But also the way they used to write comics back then, as I loved, like they don't write the same way now, where it was like kind of like a soap opera,
Oh yeah.
Even like those, like, because I'm rereading all the old that's why I bought G.I. Joe up, but I'm reading the old Hama ones right now, and they're freaking incredible, dude. Like that guy was next level back in the 80s.
Seriously, because you start to get to know the characters and you fall in love with the characters. So the characters matter more than whatever is happening, and now you care about them. So if something happens, it
was written a lot like the way Claremont wrote X-Men, where he would he would start a storyline and then he wouldn't pick it up again until like 50 issues later, and you're like, oh yeah, I forgot about this. And he never forgets. Like he just has this plan that he's
always
telling
there.
you.
Yeah,
but they don't tell they don't write comics like that anymore. So it's kind of like what I wanted to do a little bit with Mighty Mascots, but it's tougher when you're an indie creator because you can't. I'm trying to throw some like soap opera threads in the book, but it's like,
and I've read the book, and that's exactly what that is, dude. And I love, like, this is not just us, we're on the show, so we're going to be nice to each other. No, I seriously loved the book. Like the Mighty
Oh,
Mascot
thanks,
is a
man.
freaking fun read. It's one of those. It reads like a Saturday morning cartoon. It really
Oh,
does. Like
thanks.
where you're just kind of hanging out and you're reading these things. It's so much fun, and the characters are so cool looking. I know you've done like not necessarily action figures, but you do have figures of the
Yeah,
characters.
I do. They're like actually 3D printed figures. You know,
yeah.
like they sold pretty good. Like I'm out of the
Good.
Box of Bear one. That one was the clear. Everyone
Oh,
wanted
dude.
that one, you know.
Yes.
So like I got to
Yes.
make more of that one. I think I might just make him, and
Yeah.
just so I can sell it a little cheaper, because like 20. I was selling them for 25, which I mean in the terms of figures is not a bad price, but I wanted to see if I could get it down to like $10 or something, you know.
Yeah. And
Just
you know what
to
it
make
is?
make it easy sell, you know.
Yeah, and as indies, we're kind of like it's almost like, okay, they'll pay that amount of money for, like, I'll give you an
Yeah,
example.
for a Hasbro toy.
Yeah, I'm a mark. Like NECA, I think, just came out with like DuckTales characters.
Yeah.
They got me.
Right.
I was done. $37 later, I'm like, I'm getting Gizmo Duck, you know, like a 6-inch Gizmo Duck. Like, it's done. They got me. It's over. So
Right.
yeah. But if it was an indie, I'd be like, damn, $37.
Yeah, that's a lot for, and that's that's indie in a nutshell. That's our biggest challenge is people don't know us. Like
they don't know us. They have.
You know,
I bought that as a grown ass dude because of the nostalgia that it was to watch those cartoons. That's the reason why I did Wonder Duck, right? Like Gizmo Duck is the reason why I wrote Wonder Duck and why I created Wonder Duck.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
You know?
you have a very similar sensibility with that kind of stuff, because
Yeah.
you were like paying homage to like the Disney stuff, the Disney
100%.
afternoons, and which is
Yeah. Yeah.
great. Yeah, and no,
100%.
so but like that's our biggest challenge as indies is like people aren't like us, that you know, readers are there's like 80% of them will never stray out of like Batman or X-Men, you know what I mean? Like so we're trying to appeal to that, like that 20% that's adventurous that will try something different, you know.
We're hoping that those you know, obviously that group of people, maybe they're old enough to have kids that may enjoy, and our stuff is like the gateway to reading.
Yeah, right. Yep.
You know what I mean? So, you know, and hopefully, you know, that's the way it works. Oh, look. Oh, wait, hold on. I'm gonna bring this gentleman in because I was talking about a third of a show called the Indie Comics Relay. Well, here's the second third of that show, and let's bring him in right now. Let me just share this. His book is up here.
Nice.
There it is, right there. Let's bring in Mr. JohnnyC.
What's up, guys?
This is like Indie Comics Relay in reverse.
This is like a bonus episode of Indie Comics Relay. And this is why this is a perfect time for me to jump in, because I don't want to take too much time from either of you guys, because you were genuinely having a great conversation, and now here I come to derail everything.
No, you're gonna be part of this
you could add
conversation.
to it, man.
Hell yeah.
Maybe. I mean, maybe I have some insight. I don't know. It's like, it was funny because I was listening to you guys, and it's like, it's funny how we as creators, we transform over time, where we have more greater aspirations in the beginning, where we kind of have our pie in the sky kind of vision. And then like the more we kind of see how things are. And the other thing we have to think about is, and you mentioned it, George, the way things are transforming. It's like, it's not your daddy's comic industry. It's not your, you know, it's very different. So you kind of have to do the things to catch the eye of the people who are the readers now. But even then, like Keith said, they're not going to stray too far. So really, it's more about when you have a book, you have to make sure that you, the person, you're giving a quality interaction, that somebody trusts you enough to go, well, if I buy his work, I'll probably like this too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, and we're gonna, as creators, make sure we're putting out the best thing that we can do,
Right.
the best product we can put out, because that's our one shot at this person that's going to take a chance, you know, and that may taint them or make them love indie comics, you know. So it's like,
but
Go ahead, Johnny. What are you gonna say?
So I was just gonna say, I say that, and you know, in light of Keith saying that, one of my first early issues of work I did, like, is like very rudimentally put together. Like, I just wanted to put it out. I wanted people to read it, and I felt like there was a very guerrilla style to that. And now, in like my time being creative, is like, oh no, you do need to refine the process. You need to kind of really tighten things up. But like, part of the passion, part of like the motivation, just makes you want to put it out there and just you want the world to consume it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I feel like, yeah, I mean, all of our stuff, I think our first projects were probably all a little rough. I would, like I kind of cringe at some of my early stuff too, but like, I don't know. It's just part of the learning curve though, like we just get better and better. And like you said, Johnny, the more we're around, the more we see the patterns and the, whether we see it at conventions or online or even in, I work part-time at a comic store, so I get to see firsthand what people are checking out and,
But even then, I was on another podcast the other night. It's like, you don't want to chase trends either. Like if you're making a book because Absolute Batman's the hottest thing right now, then you're making a book for the wrong reasons. Like you really need to make something based upon what's in here from what's up here. You know what I mean? And whatever inspires you. Like you said, George, you wouldn't have made Wonder Duck if it wasn't for Gizmo.
Right.
You know what I mean? I wouldn't have made Sartana if I didn't have a love for spaghetti Western films.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So all of that just is rooted in that. Same thing with Keith. I mean, you can point to several different things that Keith loves that explicitly informs Mighty Mascots.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And that's a great segue for you, Johnny, because I was telling Keith, so I asked two questions to you guys, right? One was what inspired your book, and the other one was at what point did you decide, okay, it's time to put it out as a comic? So you gave the first answer, the first part of that answer, which was you're inspired by spaghetti westerns. At what point were you like, all right, I got to put this out as a comic?
So specifically with Sartana, this was the very first piece of work I put out. And this is a recollected edition with the Brett Azar cover. But when I was very, very lucky, because when issue 1 came out, I was collaborating with Joe Arnold, so it was a collaboration deal. And right out the gate, he got me hooked up with a publisher, CCP Comics. So I was already doing New York Comic Con like we do together, George. Yeah. And I was out there with my issue 1 of my first book ever. It's like skipping ahead, you know what I mean? So I got to do some of the really hard stuff first and up front. And then I kind of learned to be a creator through that. Oh, wow. So, and that kind of I think helps inform the work I do, because then I just realized there's a lot of effort that go into these books, and there's a lot of money that goes into these books. So if you're going to shoot your shot, like you said, you got to make sure you're doing it right.
Right. Yeah.
Well, and I feel like the longer you're around, I've said this before on the show too, the more work you have, I think it's an easier sell to people. Cause when you got your own table and you just have the one book on your table and like a bunch of postcards and that's it. It's a little tougher because people are like, is this guy going to be around again in a year? You know what I mean? Like I think that's some of the perception, and that's some of the stuff we're fighting as creators is people that get burned by indie creators that just make one book because they think they're going to get their Netflix deal, and then when that doesn't happen, they disappear. You know what I mean? So it's you're fighting that. But
are you more likely to go up to a table of a creator that you don't know if they have more titles on the table, or if they just have one? You're saying you'd be more likely to go to somebody who has more than one title on the table?
Me personally, no.
Yeah.
I saw, we were at Wicked Comic Con this weekend, and I get the guy's business card over here. This guy had 2 comics, but his artwork intrigued me. I forget the name of the book. We swapped issues. I want to read it. It looks good. But that guy I thought was very talented, and I'm like, oh, let me talk to this guy. I think we'll have him as a guest at some point, Johnny, because to him. But he had a very anime style. But what appealed to me is it had a Saturday morning cartoon kind of feel. It looked like a kid that can turn into some kind of demon creature or something, and it looked kind of fun, and it had this manga kind of look to it. But I talked to him for a few minutes. He's just been making comics for a year, and he had 1 and 2 out, and he was doing a convention for the don't know if it was his second or third one or something, but I don't know. So for me personally, I'll talk to anybody, and if the book looks good, I'll check it out.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking more of like the casual comic fan that's just walking through a convention, you know.
Yeah. What about you, Johnny? What's you?
I'm trying to think back to examples at conventions where I was like pulled in. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then I was trying to think like, well, what was at their booth? Like, and I'm thinking more often than not, it was singular IP branding.
Right.
Okay.
Like there was, I forget the name of the book. He was actually optioned by HBO, but nothing ever happened. But I see him in San Diego every year. I think the name of the book was Niobe, if I remember correctly. But just like that was his initial branding. Like that was the main thing. And I used obviously what was his best art forward, and that pulled me in, had me looking through and, you know, checking things out. And then I inevitably bought the book because I was impressed with what I saw. So it's tough to say, oh, well, if I see a different blend of things on a table, I prefer that over, say, individual branding. But I say, you know, what are you putting out there? Like what's going to rope people in? Like if you have an image that's really eye-catching, you know, that's going to get me to stop my tracks to come in and check out your book. Yeah. You know, especially if your cover is dope, eye-catching, something that I think, oh, like I might dig this, then I'm all in. You know what I mean? I always like to point to me being a kid in a comic shop
and seeing something cool. Yeah.
Like Preacher #1.
Yeah. That cover is like
I always that cover is a church on fire, which at the time was a very controversial thing. It still is a controversial thing, but it's very controversial imagery with a very wicked looking priest who we know as Jesse is the character, like over that burning church. So that from young eyes, that feels dangerous.
Yeah.
Right? It feels like a rated R movie I shouldn't be watching.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean earlier to George. It's like the stuff we read growing up is and it's supposed to be all ages, was like very dangerous, and you felt like you were kind of getting one up on parents and stuff. Like, oh, well, they won't let me watch R-rated movies, but I got this, you know. Like,
but you know what? We also grew up in a generation where like, for every R-rated awesome movie like RoboCop or Aliens, there was a animated series and or toy line. Yeah. So like there was always the adjacent money-making, all ages inclusive thing to like the R-rated thing that we technically shouldn't be watching, but we all knew we were anyway, right?
Right. Yeah, no, you're right.
Rambo. Yeah.
Rambo. Yes, absolutely.
Even like our slasher films, like, you know, like Nightmare on Elm Street or, you know, Friday the 13th and stuff like that. For everything there was that, you know, you had other stuff. You had like the RoboCops, and you had, you know, all those other movies. You know, what was that? What was it? Johnny 5. What movie was that?
Oh, Short Circuit.
Right? You had the short circuits and stuff like that. So there was a balance, you know.
Yeah, it was.
Like, you know,
like Tales 13 then versus now is so much different, you know.
Yeah. Well, Tales from the Crypt had an animated series, and so did Beetlejuice.
Right.
And then I also point to like this animated series from when I was a kid that like legit terrified me, called The Inhumanoids, which was pretty much Lovecraft horror on a Saturday morning basis. You know what I mean?
That was a great show.
Yeah, it was. Now, see, we you know, you mentioned, Keith, all ages, right? When you're selling your book on the table, because for me, I kind of stay away from the all ages term when it comes to like parents that come over, because I think that as a parent, they want to know, okay, is my kid going to read this book? Like you say all ages, but what age is it really? Because I have a 10-year-old. Is he going to want this? You know, and so I try to tell them, listen, this is this for this age to this age, and this is for the, like, for example, as cutesy as the Shameless plug looks, it's not necessarily for kids. You know what I mean? Like it's got themes of like, you know, whether it's racism, bullying, or whatever it is, they're in there. And I don't think a 10-year-old or a 9-year-old, as a parent, hands this to the kid, like, what did you give my kid? Why is he asking me these questions, bro? Like, what the hell's going on here?
Look, the best way to pitch Shameless plug is that it's a coming of age story. Look, the best review I can give you is that when I got to read the book at New York Comic Con last year at the table with George, it literally brought tears to my eyes. And I looked at George and I go, this is about you. I could see all the personal details shining through. And I connected because, like, where there's, elements of a family immigrating, I have just, I descended from immigrants as well. So it's like you could feel those vibes there. You could see that there. And it's just a very awesome, emotional, you could clearly tell personal story only because I know a little bit about George. So, it's just, I couldn't highly recommend it. And to give that type of personal review and to be a parent to say, oh, it's a personal story and it's coming of age, it's obviously what you want your kid reading. You know what I mean? Especially to something developmental. We're going, okay, well, stories of trials and tribulations of growing up. Right. What more could you want? Yeah. Think of all the movies that we love. Stand By Me. You know what I mean? Right, yeah. All that stuff. Lost Boys.
Sure. I know what you're saying too, George. When you mention all ages, they're like, like I always gotta I think when I promote Mighty Mascots, I always say it's all ages, but all ages in the way that Batman the animated series is all ages. It's a little dark, a little some fisticuffs and some blood sometimes. Yeah. It's not all kiddie stuff there, Yeah.
But you know what it is? It's like it's cartoons with gravitas.
Yeah, the stuff we grew
You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Lou shouted me out. Thanks, Lou. 12 back. Oh, nice. You're over halfway funded. That's awesome, man. Yeah,
that's great, man.
And listen, and I appreciate everybody who's tuned in tonight. You guys coming through, man. I really, really appreciate you guys, taking some time out and coming out and doing this, man. I really, really do appreciate you guys because I know that, obviously I've known you guys for a little bit of time now, and we always have a good time. We have great conversations. You guys have great freaking books, it's always a good time. So thank you so much, man, for really doing this.
100%.
What are you guys doing next? Keith, where are you going to be at next? What's going on with you?
Oh, with cons or just?
Yeah, with cons. Well, with cons, and then we'll go into what else you got going on.
Me and Johnny have a signing coming up in July, which is cool. I don't really have a lot going. Not until Terrificon. I have little onesie twosie things in the summer, which is kind of fine. I'm fine with that.
Same here.
But if I wanted more, I'd go seek it out. I'm kind of but Terrificon definitely, and then we got Plastic City 2 weeks later, and then my October usually is pretty packed. But that's about it.
And then Mighty Mascots is in stores.
Yeah, I'm doing the Filbo distribution.
That's right. That's right.
Might be a little late with this one. Comics Wellspring for some reason is very backed up right now. I placed an order at the beginning of May, and I am still waiting for my issues. I don't know what the hell's going on over there.
When I was doing, because I did my 8 issues through Filbo distribution, and I ended up ordering my books through Mixum.
Mixum?
They were always 30 days, not even 2-3 weeks, and they were there. And now,
you don't have to do that if the POD is not up by then for issue 3.
And a quick shameless plug for Filbo. He's got the print on demand that he's working on.
So which I am
will be
so
gone.
excited for. I cannot wait. Phil is I hope he's listening to that. He's he's an innovator, man. The idea to do that. And then be a distributor on top. It's just genius. And then I can't wait till he has a catalog and all that other stuff. So
that's gonna help so much, dude. It's
gonna definitely. It's gonna help indie so much,
Big time. Yeah, no, for sure.
So I'm excited for the future there. So
yeah. What about you, Johnny? What you got coming up, man? I know you're gonna be at Terrificon also, right?
Yeah, so Terrificon's the next time aside from the signing with Keith, Terrificon will actually be the next time I'm behind a table. Right. So I'm gonna be in San Diego, but I'm sponsoring Calamity Comics with my space. So I'm giving those guys the opportunity to exhibit in San Diego in my booth space, but I'll get to be there to go to network and hang out and enjoy California a little bit. And then after that, it's going to be Plastic City And so Plastic City, Mid-Hudson Comic-Con, and Terrificon.
Okay.
September will be light, and then October's crazy. It's going to be Athol Comic Fest, New York Comic-Con with you, my man. And then let's see, there was one more in there
somewhere too. Is that September?
Oh,
IC3?
What's that?
IC3's in the mix somewhere. I forget what that name was.
Oh yeah, so IC3, I'm not booked for that, but I might just go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then Wicked. So I had a real great time at this past Wicked. It was a good show for me specifically, and I'll probably try to make it to that one in October that they're going to do.
Cool. They have another one in October?
Yeah, so Wicked's been a funny show. The first one was really good. A lot of people had mixed reviews on the second one. They kind of retooled things, and when they opened up for free attendance, that's where things kind of changed. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people pass through. Not all people don't always spend, but a lot of people pass through.
Yeah, it's a good networking show, and it goes by quick because there's like tons of people there. And,
is it still a one-day show, or did they make it a 2-day
it is
show?
a 1 day, yeah.
1 day, right?
One-day shows are great because people don't go I'll come back tomorrow and never come back. It's either you're going to buy the book or you're not going to buy the book. You know what I mean?
No, I got you. Yeah, man. No, but that's awesome. That's awesome. And listen, again, you guys, thank you so much for coming on and doing this with me, man. I really, really do appreciate you guys. And I definitely want to still have like, maybe we'll do like a little show about like whether it's the Mighty Mascots or whatever. And then Johnny, I want to talk to you about all your stuff you have going on, because you have stuff in the
I've got a little bit in the pipeline. So like I feel like I'm stalemating for a little bit, but once the ball starts rolling, so we hopefully one thing after the other.
Yeah, no, awesome.
Yeah,
awesome,
that's
guys.
Well, works, man.
Yeah, well, listen, thank you so much. I'm going to close out. I'll send you guys out, but I really do appreciate it. What you guys say something, Johnny?
I was just going to say one more thing. Thank you for having us on, most importantly. Yep. And everybody really needs to back Shameless Plug. It's one of the best comics I've read lately. Like, you're really going to be doing yourself a disservice to sleep on this book. Like, don't think, I'm going to get it later on. Now's the time to get it during the campaign, because there's all sorts of awesome stuff George has got lined up, extras that you can scoop right now. Like, definitely back this book.
And I've read a lot of George's stuff, and I think it's by far his best book.
Thank you.
Hands down, best book. Next level George Medina right here.
Thanks so much. You guys are freaking amazing, man. Yeah. Dude, thanks, man. And listen, we'll chat soon. We'll definitely chat soon.
Sounds
you got
good.
It.
All right.
Peace out, guys. Thank you.
Guys. All right.
All right. Well, there you have it, guys. And listen, thank you so much to everyone who tuned in tonight. We had a lot of you guys in the chat. Thank you for everyone who showed up. All my guests, I really, really do appreciate you guys. The campaign is moving along. I have 25 days to go. Right now we're at 12 backers. I'm hoping to start, getting into those stretch goals or the backer goals, so I can start, giving away some of these comics that were on that rack. That whole thing, I really do appreciate you, everybody who showed up tonight. Let me just share the screen here real quick, just to show you guys the campaign itself before I let you all go. We've gone a little long tonight, but I was having fun with a lot of these incredible creators. So there is the campaign. Thank you so much again for everybody who's pledged to it already. We're more than halfway to goal, so hopefully, I'll wake up tomorrow morning and say you've been funded. That's always fun. But yeah, no. So this is the campaign for those who maybe haven't seen it yet. I just tell you really quickly about what the Shameless Plug is, and it's 140 pages. The graphic novel is completely done. It's going to be done in a 6x9 format. It's going to be in full color. I promised you guys I would reveal the cover. I had people vote for. I had to have 4 covers that people were voting for, and I decided through votes which cover would end up being the cover for the graphic novel. So I'll go through this. You guys will see it. The cover's coming up, but the story is a young boy named Joaquin who finds himself in a strange, unfamiliar place where everything feels different, new language, new customs, and unfamiliar faces. Unable to make friends, he retreats into his imagination, and Pana, the shameless plug, is born, giving him the courage to fit in. So this is Pana, this is the shameless plug, and the cover of the book, as voted by you guys. Now, this was voted by you guys. The cover will be this one right here. And I'm sure if you've pledged to the campaign, you've already seen it. This is the cover of the graphic novel. I am offering all the other versions as a one of the rewards, but they're also going to be unlocked. So you can either wait for them to get unlocked, or you can just pick them up, and you can have multiple copies. Why not? But that is the cover, and these are the rewards. This is the digital rewards, 140 pages again. It'll be the digital reward. You guys can pick it up right now. There's a $20 digital reward as well, but this is the deluxe reward. So it's got 140 pages of the graphic novel, but it also has a copy of the script attached to it and some behind the scenes process stuff that I have going on. This is the graphic novel itself for $25. The shipping is included in the prices, so you don't have to worry about once you check out. It'll be more. It'll be $25. So that's what that is. And then we go into the other stuff. So here you'll have the graphic novel plus the retail edition of the first 40 pages, just to have as a collector's item if you guys want it, plus a 6x9 print of the cover. So that's what the $40 are. Here you'll have I'm including a sketch cover in this particular reward tier. So you'll have all 5 versions of the covers that I offered, plus the graphic novel, plus the retail cover, and you're going to have the sketch cover. So the sketch cover, inside the sketch cover, there's a sketchbook, and it'll have behind the scenes stuff from script to finish page and all that other fun stuff for those who like the behind the scenes kind of stuff. And then the $100 reward will have all of that I mentioned above. And then this little guy right here, the blip chips. So I want to give a huge shout out to Game of Tunes, who put this together for me. And let me just remove this so I can show you guys what I'm talking about real quick before I let you guys all go. And here they are. These little blip chips, and they're really, really cool. They're packaged this way. There's the QR code for Game of Tunes. Big shout out to Russ, who created these for me. And basically what it is you guys remember the it's almost like a stress reliever, man. They're just these things that you just kind of play with. And I'm offering, there's only 5 of these in the campaign. They're magnetic. And what happens is when you put your phone near it, it takes you right to the website. So these are really, really cool. I'm going to have him on the show also just to explain the process of how he creates these things. There's Bana. He's so freaking cool. I love it. So yeah, check that out. There's only 5 in the campaign. Those are limited to 5. So if you guys want to pledge to that particular tier, and then obviously, like every other campaign, you have here you have some of the preview pages of the book itself. There's some preview pages. You guys can go through this. The creative team, again, I got to give a huge shout out to Joseph Olesko, to L.A. Cunningham for editing the story, for Joe Holly, Victor Claudio, C. Michael Lanning, all you guys. Thank you so much for everything you did on this book. You guys were amazing, and I really, really want to thank you guys. The stretch goals that we have coming up at 1K, we're going to have this beautiful 6x9 14-point print. The pound is a thick print of Bana, done by Lou Pons. Big shout out. Thank you so much, Lou. This is beautiful and incredible. And we're going to have her on the show to talk about it. And then, as we'll be unlocking all the other covers that were voted on by you for the book itself. And then the backer stretch goal, which is what I've been talking about tonight with everybody who I had on the show, is every time we reach 20 backers, we unlock one of these comics from the spinner rack. So you actually get to own your own version of each one of these comics as the story progresses. So it's a pretty simple campaign. Also, please check out There's an Alien in My Toilet, issue number 8, which is coming out soon by Sam, Vera, and Papa Chapter 2, which launches tonight by Phillip Russertt. Make sure you check that out. Beautiful story done by Phillip Russertt. So you definitely check that out. He's launching tonight. And that's it. That's pretty much the campaign. I kept it really simple for this one. You guys have supported me so much already. A lot of you picked up a pre-order, the pre-order of the book. So you're getting the book as a pre-order. But if you want more of some of the stuff that I have on the campaign, come on to Kickstarter and pledge here. The campaign will be live until June 23rd, 2026 at 8:30 p.m. is when it'll end. That's when the campaign ends. So definitely check it out. Thank you again so much to everyone who joined me tonight, to everyone who has already pledged. Share the campaign with everybody you know, and let's make this happen. The goal is low, is 500. But that's because I had a pre-order, and so. But I would love to get this as high as we possibly can, just so I can get as many readers of the book. Readers are very important to us indie creators. So thank you so much again, guys, for sticking around for the last what is this, two hours plus. I really, really appreciate you. And yeah, listen, I'll be back next week. We'll talk a little bit more about the campaign. I'll have some more guests on, and for the next 26 days, I will be annoying you on social media. So if you follow me, I'm warning you, I will be annoying you, but it's for a good cause. So thank you again. I really appreciate it, everybody, and I'll see you next week. All right. Thanks again, and don't forget to follow everybody who I've had on the show. The show notes are in there. All their stuff is on there. Make sure you follow that. Peace.
You need a dose of this.